Hey everyone, Sean here with Fotodiox.com, and today we're taking a look at our new WonderPana XL filter system for the Sigma 14mm f1.4 DGDN art lens. This is an ultra wide angle lens, and one of the issues with ultra wide angle lenses is they don't have traditional filter threads. As you see here, this lens has a tulip hood over it to kind of protect the ultra wide angle optic, but there is no filter thread in here. So if we want to add filters to this ultra wide angle lens, we're going to need one, something to hold the filter, and that's what our WonderPana filter system does. And two, we're going to need some filters that are extremely large. This is a WonderPana XL 10-stop ND1000 filter. This is 186 millimeters. This is a super large filter, but you need a super large filter to put in front of your ultra wide angle lens and not have vignetting. You need that really big filter size to cover the field of view of an ultra wide angle lens without getting any vignette. First things first, we have to install the WonderPana XL filter holder onto this Sigma 14mm lens. And the way we do that, first off, is we have to remove this tripod foot on the lens. If we keep this on, we will not be able to fit this over. So removing this tripod leg is pretty easy. You just loosen this part right here, and then you're gonna rotate it so it's on top of the lens rather than the bottom. You're gonna line up this white dot with the removed dot on the lens, and you can pull it right off. And we can put this tripod foot on after we mount the filter holder onto the lens, so we can still use it. We just have to remove it when we install the filter holder. Now, when you purchase this WonderPana filter holder, it's most likely going to have the two parts separated already, but in case it's not, you're just going to loosen this red ring off the top of the larger black ring. You just unscrew it like this. We pull it apart. So as you can see now, we've got the red ring here and then the black ring here. And this is the part we mount the 186mm filters onto. Now the base WonderPana 186mm holder comes in two parts for a reason, and that's because we're going to put this part over the rear of the lens and this part over the front. And we're going to connect them together, and that's going to keep them locked to the lens so it won't go anywhere. Let's start with the rear mount. We're going to take our Sigma 14mm lens. We're going to take the ring and we're going to slot it over the back of the lens. And as you can see here, it fits really snugly on the back. The tulip hood stops it. And there we go. We've got the rear element in place. Now we're going to take the front element of the WonderPana XL. This is the part that you mount the 186mm filters onto. And as you can see, show you right here, there are little slots in here. We've got two smaller slots on the left and right, and we have two larger slots. Now these two larger slots are going to accommodate the tulip hood, so it's pretty simple. You're just gonna line them up with the two larger parts of the tulip hood and just slot it in place. There we go. Now we have the front filter holder part mounted on the front of the lens. And now we just have to screw these two parts together. So I'm going to flip it over this way. I'm just going to turn the red ring to thread it onto the front filter holder part. Got to turn it a good number of times. And you just rotate it until it's tight and snug. And there we go. Now we've got this 186mm filter holder mounted on the front of our Sigma 14mm DGDN art lens. And then if we want to, we can add the tripod foot back in place. It's nice to have, so I'm gonna mount it back on the lens. Just line it up with the remove arrow right there, and then rotate it over this way and line it up with this line right here. So the tripod foot is on the bottom of the lens facing down. Make sure the two lines are lined up. And then we're just going to tighten this screw. And that locks our tripod foot back to the lens, so it's ready to use. Then we can also mount our Sony A7 camera to the back of the lens. There we go, we've got it all set up. Full frame camera, full frame ultra wide angle lens, and our WonderPana filter holder on the front. And Fotodiox offers various filters for our WonderPana XL filter holder. These are 186 millimeter filters. We've got ND filters, UV filters, CPL filters. I'll show you a couple here. This is our ND1000 10-stop filter. This cuts 10 stops of light from a scene, so it's great for shooting super long exposure photos. This is our ND32 filter. It's not as strong as the ND1000. It's also great for long exposure photography or if you're shooting in bright conditions. And this is our CPL filter. This filter actually has two pieces and one rotates against the other. You do it by simply rotating this front part. There are grooves on it and you just rotate them to move the two pieces of glass. And this is a circular polarizing filter, which means as you rotate the front element of the filter, you can remove reflections from your scene. And each of these filters comes with a red WonderPana carrying case so you can protect them in the field. Let's start with the ND1000 10-stop filter. Mounting these filters on the WonderPana filter holder can be a bit tricky just because they're so big. You're just going to kind of line up the filter on the front. It's good to have it facing up, but I'll kind of show it at a side angle too. And you want to make sure that you're lining up the threads evenly so everything will fit snugly together. Once you have the threads lined up, you're just going to use your fingers to slowly tighten the filter to the filter holder. And if you have smaller hands than me, you'll probably have to use your fingers like this on the side instead of spanning it like this. Like I said, these are 186 millimeter filters. They are super, super big. There we go. We've got this ND1000 10-stop ND filter locked tight to our WonderPana filter holder. And like I said, 10-stop filters are great for shooting super long exposure photos. And you can see that in these before and after photos. In the first shot, I'm just using this lens without a filter, and I'm just getting a normal exposure time. Then I'm adding the 10-stop filter, and I'm shooting up to a couple seconds of exposure time, which is adding beautiful blur to the water. WonderPana ND1000 filters are great if you are a landscape photographer and you're shooting water and you want to add that beautiful long exposure, super sleek, super soft, silky look to your water. These filters are a great option for that. Next up, let's add our WonderPana XL 186 millimeter circular polarizer. And this one's a little trickier to mount because it does have two moving parts. Again, you're gonna line up the threads, make sure they're even. It's gonna take a couple turns to get it all the way in. You wanna make sure it's tight. There we go, we've got the CPL filter mounted to our filter holder. And this CPL filter actually has two pieces of glass in it, and the front part moves. As you can see here, I can actually rotate the front part by spinning it. I can just use my fingers on these grooves. And by rotating the front element of this CPL filter, we can actually use it to remove reflections from a scene. CPL filters are great for removing reflections from water. Let's say you're shooting a lake or a river and the sun is really brightly reflecting on that surface of water. If you want to reduce that reflection or get rid of it almost altogether, you just rotate in the amount of filtration you want. You can actually cut that reflection right out of the scene, make the water darker, smoother, and less shiny. So our WonderPana XL CPL filters are another great filter option if you are a landscape photographer, but they're also great if you shoot product photography. Let's say you shoot car photography and your car is super reflective. You just rotate the CPL filter until you remove the reflections from your car photography and you get a much nicer image. Now, if you don't need an ND filter like this to filter light from your scene or a CPL filter to remove reflections, we also carry UV filters. These are multi-coated UV 186 millimeter filters. And a UV filter is great for reducing haze in an image, but it's also exceptional for protecting the front element of your ultra wide angle lens. Let's say you're using this Sigma 14 millimeter lens. You have it mounted on a car and you're using it to shoot video. If you want to protect the front element from flying gravel and other debris, a UV filter is a great tool. We're just going to mount it on the front here. And this is just a clear piece of glass. It is multi-coated. It will help you reduce haze in your image, but it's mostly designed, like I said, to protect your lens. Just Just mount it into place here. There we go. Now we've got an extra piece of glass in front of your high-end ultra-wide angle optic. This is great, like I said, for filmmakers who want to protect the front element of their lens. Mounting a UV filter on the front of your Sigma 14 is a great way to protect it, and it's a really useful tool. Now, we don't just make circular filters for our WonderPana XL filter line. We also make square Grad ND filters. For example, this is a 0.9 soft edge Grad ND, as well as this one right here. This is a 0.9 hard edge Grad ND. And the way we mount them on our WonderPana XL filter holder is we use our square filter holder brackets. Now you can use the WonderPana filter system just in its circular filter mode. That's just with the circular filter holder on the front, and that's fine. But if you want to add the square ND grads, you will have to add our brackets. Installing these brackets is super simple. We've got two holders here and here, and then we've got a series of these little gold screws, and these allow us to screw the brackets to the left and right of the WonderPana. It's pretty simple to build. We're just going to lay our WonderPana flat. Down here, we've got little mounting screw holes on the left and right. So let's just start with this filter holder. Just going to slot it over the holes, and we're going to thread the filter holder bracket, lock it in place. Once we put the middle screw in, then we can add the left and right screws. These gold screws are knurled, so they're super simple to lock into place onto the filter holder. Tighten them down. There we go. We've got the first side done. Let's rotate around. Now we're going to add our second bracket to the other side. Same thing. Line it up with the mounting screw holes. Start with the middle one. Just thread that in, tighten it down. Don't tighten it too far because we will need a little bit of flexibility to mount the other two in. Again, don't go all the way. Tighten it like halfway. Tighten it down, tighten all three down. And there we go. Now we have our square filter holder brackets on the front of our round filter holder. And now we can slide in different Grad NDs. Let's start with this 0.9 soft edge Grad ND. And as you'll see in the filter holder, we've got actually two brackets. So we can actually put two separate square filters in there at the same time, or we can have one round filter and one square filter. So you have a couple different options. Let's say you want an ND filter here, and then you want to put a square filter in front of it. You can do that. But for today's setup, we're just going to do one soft edge Grad ND. We're going to thread it into the channels. Just push it through. And graduated neutral density filters are a great way to control exposure in skies. Let's say you're shooting a landscape photo. The sky looks pretty plain, pretty vanilla, but if we add a Grad ND filter and we kind of slide it down and we add that soft edge Grad ND to the sky, now we're getting this kind of engaging, darkening effect in the sky, and it makes the image pop. Here's some before and after examples showing what you can get with a Grad ND filter. And the nice thing about having these flexible filter holder channels is we get to decide how much of the Grad ND we want in our shot. We can start out with hardly any, then we can actually slide it in and add more into our scene all the way down to here. So this gives us the freedom to increase or decrease the amount of graduated neutral density filtration we want in our shot. And not only can we slide the graduated neutral density filtration up and down, we can also rotate it. We can rotate it 360 degrees. So that means we can put our filtration wherever we want it in a scene. We can rotate it. And that gives us a lot of flexibility with our shot composition. In a standard setup with a Grad ND filter, you're going to want to have the darkening part of the filter at the top, and you're going to use this filtration up here at the top to darken your sky in a landscape shot. But if you wanted to, you could rotate it 180 degrees, and you could have the darkened part of the filter on the ground. So you could expose for the sky and make the ground go dark. So you have a lot of flexibility with our Grad ND filter holder. You can put the filter wherever you want it in your shot, slide it up and down. And yeah, it's a really great, simple, easy to use square ND filter holder. And all of our Grad ND filters come with a carrying case to protect them when you're traveling around. You just slot them in like this. Really simple. Zip them up. And you have protection for your Grad ND filter. Okay, that's going to do it for today's in-depth look at our new WonderPana XL filter holder for the Sigma 14mm f1.4 DG/DN art lens. Now, we don't just make a WonderPana filter holder for this specific lens. We actually have a series of WonderPana filter systems for various ultra-wide-angle lenses. Here's the list right here of all the lenses we currently support. So if you have one of these lenses and you're interested in using our WonderPana filters, click the link in the description below to learn more. But if you have this specific Sigma 14mm lens and you want to get this filter system for it, click the link in the description below. It'll take you to a listing with all the different options for bundling different filters and accessories. If you have any questions about anything I said in today's video, comment below. I'd love to help you out. Plus, click right here to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos just like this one.